It's on X. It's actually on X. Okay. I guess we're gonna watch it on X. I don't know why it's not on YouTube or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe it's some issue with banning or whatever. The origins of Nick Fuentes. Oh my gosh. All right, let's watch the interview. The fascinating world of Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes is here.
Nick Fuentes, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I wanted to meet you. I've heard about you.
I've heard about you.
So, well, thank you.
So fascinating. Such idol worship. Let me see if I can have the chat on while I do this. You excited? Excited yet? Side chat, get activated. Been so quiet for so long. Also YouTube chat, also get activated and press like or something. Getting the most fascinating interview of the year over here. Gonna check the chat from time to time.
I want to understand what you believe, and I want to give you a chance in a minute to just lay it out, not what you're pivoting against, which are a lot of the same thing. You know, I agree with you on some of the things you're pivoting against for sure, but what do you affirmatively believe? So I just want to stand back and let you explain it. But first, I want to understand how you got to where you are, how you became Nick Fuentes. So this is my understanding of your life arc, and tell me if I'm wrong. You show up at Boston University. You grew up in a suburb of Chicago, kind of working class, suburb of Western suburb, and you show up at Boston University in the fall of 2016 at the height of the battle between Trump and Hillary. It's like this kind of pivot point in history, and you show up with a MAGA hat, and you have a Trump hat, and you have like basically off-the-shelf Republican views?
Yes.
And so describe what the views that you had then, and then describe what happened.
I'm gonna put the phone on charge. Hold on. What a fascinating interview. What a fascinating guy. Cool things are happening.
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I was very political. I was reading a lot of the libertarian stuff, Austrian school, Chicago school, economic type literature, because that's what was popular at the time. If you went online in the early 2010s, that's all the conservative content there really was. That was the most extremely online type
Libertarian
stuff.
economics.
Well, yeah, basically kind of the remnant of the Ron Paul revolution.
Yes.
The Young Americans for Liberty, PragerU, which kind of skews a little more, I guess, conservative, but...
A little bit, you think? You think that, wait, what did he say? PragerU is just a little bit conservative, hey? Just a little bit. How can you say PragerU? Are we talking about the same PragerU? I gotta listen to this again. What is the claim being made here about PragerU? Hold on.
Very PragerU, kind of the remnant online type trends. Popular at the time. Austrian school, Chicago political.
Hold on.
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I was very political. I was reading a lot of the libertarian stuff, Austrian school, Chicago school, economic type literature, because that's what was popular at the time. If you went online in the early 2010s, that's all the conservative content there really was. That was the most...
Why did you seek out conservative content in particular, Nick? When you were a young swashbuckler, why did you feel the need to just look at that particular type of content? What was the allure?
Extremely online type
Libertarian
stuff.
economics.
Well, yeah, basically kind of the remnant of the Ron Paul revolution.
Yes.
The Young Americans for Liberty, PragerU, which kind of skews a little more, I guess, conservative, but very basic small government, individualism, libertarian type stuff.
So you watch PragerU videos?
Oh, yeah. I was in the Prager force.
Oh, my goodness. That explains a lot.
What's
PragerU is insane.
What's that?
It's a Facebook group for college kids, and they promote the PragerU videos.
Wow.
To the college.
Wow.
Students and high school students.
So you really were a product of the moment.
Absolutely.
And how'd you feel about Trump?
Well, initially, I didn't like Trump. When the primary started in 2015,
he was too friendly to the Jews. I mean,
I considered him to be a statist.
Yeah.
Which sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah. What? Tucker Carlson has a very bizarre interview style. Where he just, okay. Oh, no.
Now.
It's really, it's just this weird, fake, emotional response.
No, a lot of people thought that.
Yeah. And I was a libertarian, so I saw him as a big government, 1990s liberal. When he was asked about healthcare, he said, well,
maybe I'm just too toned down. Maybe I'm just too Polish for these things. Maybe I just, because I noticed that a lot of Americans are just so animated about everything. It's not just a Tucker Carlson thing. I've seen a lot of American celebrities, content creators, what have you, be very loud, animated, and Polish. Some more subdued, anemic even by some standards. But maybe I should change it. Maybe I should be more. What? No! Holy crap! Is that really true? Maybe that'll give me more success actually in the game of streaming. If I were just more animated and more extreme, rather than the chat, if you think so, if you agree at all.
We'll take care of everybody. And I said, I'm a Rand Paul guy, Ted Cruz guy. Those were kind of my people back
boring.
in 2015.
Boring as
I was a
hell.
cruise missile.
God, this is so boring.
Does Cruz know this?
I don't think so, no. I was actually on his campaign. I tweeted at Ben Shapiro. I said,
okay, let's see. We're gonna jump around because this is getting just boring as hell. Okay, this is getting actually boring, unironically.
I've never seen anything on the Daily Wire that's actually critical of Israel.
Oh, there you go.
And
I wonder why, by the way. Isn't Ben Shapiro a pretty huge figure on the Daily Wire? I wonder why the Daily Wire would not be criticizing Israel. It's like just such a mystery to me. Can anybody here answer that question? Is anybody curious, as I am, why the Daily Wire would not be critical of Israel? I cannot think of any reason.
Quote tweets me. And at this time, I have 1,000 followers on Twitter.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I'm a freshman.
Still a freshman in college, yeah.
And this is even before I started my show. And I don't know, I probably got 100 likes on this tweet. It wasn't a viral tweet. He quote tweets me and says, to accuse a Jew of dual loyalty is the surest sign of anti-Semitism. And this is how it sort of begins. And I see this tweet. And by the way, that was on Christmas Eve in 2016.
Brilliant. Isn't Nick Fuentes the guy that made the whole cookie joke? 6 million cookies joke?
Immediately called you an anti-Semite.
Mm-hmm.
No way. Nick Fuentes, an anti-Semite? No way. Why would anybody call you, of all people, an anti-Semite? I just cannot understand this at all.
So I'm driving to Christmas Eve Mass with my family.
And somebody calls me an anti-Semite. I cannot believe.
And I see on Twitter, the notification comes up, Ben Shapiro quote tweets me, calling me an anti-Semite.
No way.
And I was like...
And I was so hurt because I love the Jewish people so much.
What is this? Why is this guy attacking me?
Yeah.
Because I don't have a platform at this time. I'm not an influential guy or anything. And so then I put out another tweet similar. I said something like, if you're China first, you should live in China. If you're Mexico first, you should live in Mexico. If you're Israel first, maybe you should go live in Israel. And again, he quote tweets me and says, you're an anti-Semite.
That same night?
This was, I think, a couple weeks later. Happened a little bit further down the line. And
Let's
so...
see.
Were you surprised that he knew?
Have you ever critiqued the state of Israel? I actually have. Quite a few times, actually. I have criticized Israel. Israel has a lot of things to be criticized over, trust me.
Yeah, I was. I was surprised at why he cared.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, how does he even know who I am or what I'm about?
It's Twitter. People reply and quote tweet people on Twitter. I was on the social media platform, and somebody replied to me on that social media platform, and I was like, why? I think you might be an anti-Semite. That's true. That is true. I do not criticize Israel enough. I just might be that. True, Moho. You should repent. Or I should start a podcast with Nick Fuentes.
And it turned out that Cassie Dillon, she had texted him earlier and she wanted him to take me under his wing. She texted him after that debate and said, you really like this guy. He's amazing. He did this great debate. She goes, but he's a little too pro-Trump. He's a little too Trumpy. And he goes, I'll take a look. And so I guess the two of them were kind of grooming me in a sense.
What?
They wanted me to go maybe and be a Daily Wire, or maybe looking me as a potential
They
conservative
were grooming me? Okay, dude. Yeah, you were groomed. You were groomed on Bishop Hero.
activist or influencer.
Uh-huh.
And so they started paying attention to me. And the more critical of Israel I was, I started to get this really intense pushback from the both of them and from a lot of the people at Daily Wire.
Why do you
Sounds like a very failed grooming strategy to me, to be honest. You're being groomed. Sounds like not a
think?
very...
So you're an 18-year-old college freshman. You're clearly talented and you're engaged. You're really interested. And you ask
Okay, that's enough.
not crazy questions. Like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. I want to see identity politics. There you go.
But I also think there's like a true, not just principle, but like spiritual reality that we have to defend, which is God created every person as an individual.
Yes. We have to protect the spiritual reality of my fantasy religious beliefs. True. That is true. That is exactly what needs to happen. Separation of state and church be damned. Who cares about that? That is just old news. That is woke and gay.
Well, not as a group. No woman gave birth to a community. Like, we hate that kind of thinking, right?
Yeah.
It's stupid. Maybe that's why we hate that kind of thinking.
Activist thinking like that. That's identity politics. That's what Dave Rubin engages in. That's why Dave is like a child. Like, you don't pay any attention to Dave because he's like...
And you're the adult that understands the spiritual reality of God creating everybody. Okay, dude. You're the adult in the room.
Shallow. But we're not going to be that, right? Or no?
No, I completely agree with you.
Oh.
And, you know, like, and not to be that guy and say that thing, but like, my best friend is a Jewish person, you know? But
wow, no way did you do that. I've got Jewish friends, so I cannot be possibly an anti-Semite, can I? My best friend is Jewish. No way, dude. Well then, damn. I was wrong about Nick Fuentes, I guess.
Here's my substantive disagreement, because as a Catholic, I could not agree more with you.
Yes.
In what you're saying.
Yes.
I love all people, even the ones that don't like us. We have to love them all, and we have to recognize that
we're required to.
Yes. And especially Aquinas says the Jews are a witness people. And
oh my God. Hello, random spooky girl 3PO. Welcome to the stream. Remember to press like. It helps a lot, apparently. Every like helps.
So they actually have special protections under the law, according to Catholic philosophy. But I guess my substantive disagreement, which I've said on the show also, is the idea.
Toast Cleaner says, whoa, Fuentes is a Catholic? What? I know, right? Also, what a laughable statement. Oh, yeah. Jewish people have always had historically such special protection under Catholicism. It's incredible. It's crazy. Jewish people have always just enjoyed such protection within Europe. It's always been smooth sailing for them Jews. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, that neoconservatism and Israel has nothing to do with Jewishness, Jewish identity, the Jewish religion, because clearly the state of Israel and the neocons are deeply motivated by that ethnic identity, and their allegiance to Israel proceeds from that. You know, the plan of Greater Israel, the blood and soil nationalism of Israel, it stems from this ethno-religion, which is Judaism.
Well, this is...
What? That is complete nonsense. That is no, it does not. Oh my God. Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism, actually. I don't know much about Nick, to be blunt. Well, you know what? You probably are a happy person for it, okay? You probably are a happier person for it. You probably should not be looking more into Nick Fuentes. We're watching this debate, but it's like let me just tell you, there are more interesting people to learn about than Nick Fuentes.
Is just BLM, the new version. This is identity politics.
Good on you.
Engaging in identity politics.
Good on you.
I mean, that's just so obvious to me. But the problem in your response, I get what you're saying, but the problem in your response is it does not apply to every individual.
No, and I would never say that.
Okay. Well, I just think it's important to say that, not to kind of like dodge the accusations against you. My best friends are
What?
Jewish. Like, okay, I agree. Embarrassing, even though it's probably true. And it's true in my case, actually. But whatever. But because just that principle that we're all judged as individuals by what we do, that our faith, the decisions that we make, the way we live our lives, and God will judge every one of us in that way. And
Oh my God.
that's how we're supposed to judge. Like, I think that's true.
Yeah, and I totally agree.
Two fanatical idiots, two fanatical lunatics having an interview. Yeah, you totally agree. Both of you practicing the Catholic principles or whatever. Brilliant.
But I guess the disagreement is you say identity politics like it's a bad thing. I think identity is a reality.
Identity is a reality. Absolutely. You just can't have a country of 350 million that's diverse where it's just like warring ethnicities, because then it's Rwanda soon.
Warring ethnicities, Rwanda soon. Oh, okay. Tucker Carlson does not know the history of the Rwanda genocide at all. At all. Warring ethnicities.
And, the people with the most force just kill the others. So, like, you can't have that here. Right?
Yeah. But I would say specifically as it pertains to, you, I think, have said it's the neocons. And I think that neoconservatism, where does it arise from? It arises from Jewish leftists who were mugged by reality when they saw the surprise attack in the Yom Kippur War.
Yeah, that's a lot of it for sure. But then, like, how do you explain,
whatever.
Huckabee, Ted Cruz?
Okay, well, I want to know why Fuentes hates weed and alcohol now, okay? And then how porn is destroying man. Or maybe we'll start here. Why is political violence in America rising? We'll listen to a bit of all these three. Let's go.
Describe the circumstances that have led to this violence. Like, how does a normal kid...
Random Spooky Girl 3PO says the Dutch basically created two races and then set them against each other. I was almost purely as a result of colonialism. Yeah, basically. It's like a little bit of a simplification, but that is basically what also happened in Sri Lanka. If you wanna go that route as well. In many other places. It's basically creating an artificial division and then the rest is history.
Young man go from being a normal young man to being a murderer?
I think that it has a lot to do. If you read through all these stories, they always have a few things in common, which is that, and people have pointed this out, this is not new, SSRIs are always a big one.
Of course, they're gonna fearmonger about medication for depression because the SSRI, of course, all the lunatics pointed out, by the way. It's worth remembering. That it's all the lunatics that always pointed out. So I'm not surprised in the slightest that Nick Fuentes joins that chorus.
Of course.
But what that points to,
of course,
is a depressive streak. It's always somebody that is a loner, socially dislocated, or socially dysfunctional. They don't have many real life friends, engage in real life activities, slip through the cracks. That's always how it starts. Then they get into either they're medicated by a therapist with SSRIs, or they self-medicate, which is extremely common with alcohol, weed, which is extremely potent now, and you could get THC from like a vape pen. So it's very...
Yeah, of course. It's all because of that evil weed.
Powerful, very accessible. When I was in high school, my stoner friends would have to like go on a walk to the park and roll a joint. Now, with the vape, you can hit that anywhere, I guess.
Of course.
It's very discreet.
Of course.
They also do psychedelics. I think that's a huge part of it. And
how is that a huge part of it?
I think that a lot of them get turned on. They'll do alcohol, marijuana, and then I think they get into psychedelics like LSD or MDMA. And I think
that does not explain anything. That is not an explanation to anything, literally. Okay.
Those things induce psychosis. These psychoactive drugs, whether it's marijuana by itself or it's LSD, I think they tend to induce psychosis and exacerbate those like existing problems. And basically what happens, I would say that is maybe the next step. And then the other ingredient that's always there is although they don't have a social life in the real world, they have a social life on the internet.
Yes.
And so they're deeply involved in obscure internet forums, Discord, gaming communities. So increasingly, ChatGPT is inducing psychosis. People talk to ChatGPT all day, all night. And you basically have, between the three of these things, they kind of go into like a different world between the psychoactive substances, the make-believe reality of the internet.
This is what happens when a guy is just allowed to ramble on his thesis, like becomes a armchair psychologist. Discord. Oh yes, the Discord, the evils of Discord. The Discord also creates psychosis. Thank you. Of course. Why haven't I thought of that? The Discord psychosis.
Totally disconnected from the real world. I think they enter into like this delusional state. And I think that's where that shooter in Minneapolis, I think that's what that was.
I'd just like to point out, okay, random spooky girl creepy or weed or psychedelics won't make a healthy person go crazy. This is hyped up fear mongering. I mean, yes, that is true, but I would just like to point out, because Nick Fuentes is in a whole rant about people being online, the dangers of online, etc. I would like to point out very calmly that most social platforms, if not all of them, cater to the right. Interesting, huh? Most social platforms are platforms that just cater straight out to the right. The algorithm favors the right-wing thought. It's just straight up. A lot of these platforms are pretty much owned by far-right lunatics, like X or Twitter. Random Spooky 3PO says, this is like this scary stories, like how if you take acid, you're gonna think you're a glass of orange juice and be afraid of being spilled. Actually sounds pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a pretty awesome experience. Feeling that you're a glass of orange juice and being afraid to be spilled. I would like to know what that feels like. Sounds pretty interesting.
If Tyler Robinson is found guilty, there's been some interesting screenshots about him and his transgender boyfriend.
There you go. Always. Trans issues always have to be. Also, there's no evidence of. I don't even know if the person's. Like, there was a trans roommate, but there's been no evidence of any sort of relationship, I think. I'm pretty sure. No?
Same story there, if that's true. And I would imagine it was not dissimilar with the guy that showed up and tried to kill me. I think those are always the ingredients that produce that kind of violence.
In your audience, as I imagine it, I've never seen any of your numbers.
Like Fuentes hates weed and alcohol. Let's go. Let's listen to Nick Fuentes explain to us the evils of smoking pot.
I don't even know how big your audience is. It seems big to me, but I think of them as young men.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bulk of your audience, right?
Young man.
And yet here you are criticizing weed and video games and the internet, and you work on the internet. You are a creation. I mean, you wouldn't exist without the internet, of course. You didn't get a job at NBC News. So what kind of reaction do you get when you say...
Yeah, you should make a statement and just stop all his activity on the internet. That's what Nick Fuentes should do.
Criticize weed, gaming, and the internet to young men.
A lot of them agree with it because they get it. It's their life. A lot of them, that's their life. Their life is... And another thing we didn't even bring up is the porn thing, which is there also. This is their life. Weed, gaming, porn. And I think they know it's bad. I think they know there's like some sense of...
okay. You just feel, that they know that it's bad. You're not gonna substantiate any of it. You're not gonna explain why any of it is bad. You're just gonna say that it's bad and that everybody knows it. Brilliant. It's okay. You've convinced me. You've definitely made me a changed person. I'm never gonna smoke pot, drink a droplet of alcohol, or, God forbid, play games ever again. Toast Scooter. I see Mr. Robinson referred to the roommate as my love in the private text messages. That doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. You can call someone your love. It doesn't mean that you're in a relationship with them. Trust me. Random Spooky Girl 3PO says, I just smoked weed and I have Final Fantasy VII open on the other monitor. I truly am part of the problem. Yes. Well, you haven't drank, so that's a thing.
Of guilt. And so it's interesting. I would say it's maybe an 80-20 split where 20% say, oh, you're against weed. Not cool, man. It's just a plant. What, they're very
What? Yeah, that's exactly the arguments that people use. It's just a plant, man. How can you be against plants? You racist bigot.
defensive about it, about these addictions. And I think 80% say, I know I have a problem. Like I have a guilty conscience. I know it's bad. I know.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. You're gonna show any data? You're gonna show any numbers, Nick Fuentes? Oh no, you're just gonna say it. You're just gonna know. Say yeah, 80% of people just hate themselves and hate that they smoke weed.
Oh, it's terrible.
Why are you against weed?
Because
it's evil.
I think that it's
I think it's the work of Satan.
Compromises the integrity of your mental faculties. I
No, it doesn't. How? What do you mean by that? How would you know?
think there's something deeply wrong with that.
Well, how does it compromise it? You have to you have to substantiate it. You just cannot announce it and call it a day.
When you I'm against alcohol too. I think
Eh,
it's wrong to numb pain. I think pain is a part of life. I think sobriety is should be experienced.
Okay.
And I think that weed is even worse because I
Why is it even worse?
think that one, it's very dangerous. There's a lot of numbers now out of
Why is it dangerous? Random Spooky Girl 3PO. In fairness, alcohol is a lot worse than weed. Yes, it is a lot worse. Even if they have similar potentials for alcoholism, for addiction, the effects are entirely incomparable. That is true. I can definitely agree with that. And interestingly enough, the more dangerous thing is much more legal everywhere.
California and Washington that people are going to the hospital for psychosis. People
Yeah.
are going crazy because of
It's
it.
also more subtle and therefore more insidious. Like you can't.
Yeah, same for games, right? More and more people are in the hospital for psychosis over video games. Moho says, then what does this guy think about local anesthetics? That is getting rid of pain as well, right? Yeah, exactly. You should be operated without any painkillers. First of all, you should not be put to sleep when you're getting operated on. Okay, they should just numb your muscles, as in make your muscles relax so that you cannot move, but not numb any of the pain. And they should just operate on you when you're conscious. Here you go. That's my prescription.
I've done it. If you have a 12-pack for breakfast, like everyone knows, but if you take a hit off the dab pen, like nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use it all the time.
Yeah, and it makes you a loser. It makes you lazy.
Why? I know many people that are not lazy and they smoke a lot of pot. They probably work harder than you.
People that are addicted to weed are not motivated, don't care about anything.
That's not true. That is definitely bullshit. I know. I mean, that is not an argument even that I know, but that is not true. I want evidence. I want evidence of that claim. Let me just say that.
Other than weed, there's sort of like an irony there where I used to hang out with a lot of stoners in high school. I never smoked weed, but all my friends did. And
wow,
they were so chill and relaxed and didn't care about anything. But
being chill and relaxed is not the same thing as not caring about anything. Random Spooky Girl 3PO. You can generally be functional and smoke weed all day and do so indefinitely, but alcohol will ruin your life if you do the same. Yes, that is also definitely true. Yep.
if you criticized weed, they would freak out and get extremely defensive.
Yes, I've noticed.
Right? If you insinuate that it's addictive, if you say it's a problem, they get very junkie behavior. And so I've always hated it. I think it's disgusting.
Okay.
What is
That means so much from Nick Fuentes.
porn exactly? Like describe.
What kind of a question is that? What is porn? Are you serious? Is this a serious interview or a meme interview? Nick Fuentes, please tell me what porn is. This is going to be the thumbnail for this, by the way. What is porn?
How available is porn? What is it?
What is it? Come on. Come on. Really? What is porn? Is this treated as a serious question? Okay.
What porn is, but like you said, it's a huge factor in the lives of young men and a bad factor. Why?
Porn that you
Well,
speak of?
this is another thing where it's reality distortion. That's kind of the theme. Just like psychedelics distort reality, just like a kind of internet society is a form of delusion, so is porn, in the sense that, you know, a lot of people maybe don't realize, and we talked about this a little bit, people are getting turned on to porn when they're like 10 years old. And when you are going through puberty, when you're developing your sexual faculties, how could you
What the hell are sexual faculties? What the hell is... I want an explanation on what the hell sexual faculties are. Toast Cleaner says, Brad Facer music is an example of allegedly neurodivergent person getting addicted to weed with very terrible consequences. Okay.
away from that? Every kid has a phone, every kid has an iPad, and every iPad and phone is, if you know what it is, loaded up with porn. And it's infinite and it's ubiquitous.
What? No, it's not. What? No, every phone, believe it or not, every phone and every iPad and every tablet is not loaded up with... What? What if it's not connected to the internet? What the hell was that? What the hell was that statement?
Ubiquitous, and you can get every kind of it you want, whenever you want. It's in your pocket. And so something that is almost never talked about is that this is a generation that's totally sexually dysfunctional, I think, because of pornography.
Oh, yeah.
And some people are able to cope with it. Some people don't have a problem. But I think a lot of people, and maybe even a small minority, have a serious problem with it. And the
How
problem...
does it make people sexually dysfunctional?
I think that it's impossible for a real woman to compete with the availability and the novelty of pornography. A real woman,
Yeah, because first of all, you have fake women in porn, but I don't think anybody that watches porn expects to have an identical experience during sex. I just don't buy this. I don't buy this whole, oh no, if you watch porn, then sex will never be the same ever again for you. This is just, again, I'd like to see some evidence of that claim.
Like, without getting graphic, she's only one person, and, maybe she wants to do something sexual, maybe she doesn't. Porn is, you could have 100 different women in one sitting doing anything that whatever niche or idiosyncratic thing a person might be into, it's there. And so I think that novelty combined with that availability, it makes it so that, when you think about courting a woman,
I bet Nick has a lot of experience with real women. I bet so too. I'm willing to bet Nick has a lot of experience with porn.
Isn't worth the squeeze. And so there's like also a problem of like erectile dysfunction, people that can't enjoy regular sex because it does not compare to the intensity, the novelty, and the availability of porn. It's hyper stimulation.
I want to see some data on that, actually. Please, Nick, please present us with evidence. Oh, wait, you will not, as always.
And so I think that's sabotaging a lot of normal sexual relationships.
It seems like it's making a lot of people gay, too.
Yeah, and trans.
You think that...
What? Porn is making people gay and trans? Toaster Clear says, I heard he had some unconventional experiences with boys. See? So he had to have had experience with porn. It made him gay and trans.
That's true?
100%.
What is that?
What? Oh my god. Nick Fuentes thinks that porn makes people gay and trans. But being gay is just a gateway to being trans. So, whatever.
I think that the novelty is a huge part of that. I think that if you are somebody that uses pornography...
Yeah, if you experience the novelty of porn, then obviously, you're going to want the novelty of being gay. And through that novelty is not going to be enough. So you just... being gay is a gateway drug to being trans, obviously. Yes, of course. Of course.
multiple times per day, which many people do.
Actually?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a lot of jerking off.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And
jerking off multiple times per day? It's a lot. I never even knew you could jerk off this much. I never expected. I never knew.
And, you know, if you're doing that multiple times a day, every day for years since you're a kid, well, eventually you get bored and you want to move on to something more extreme.
Yeah. And that more extreme is being gay and then trans, of course.
You're kind of, it operates, I think, similar to like a
Feels like he's speaking from experience.
drug. You kind of have this.
Oh my God. I was about to make a joke that it's like a drug, but he just said it earnestly.
Same kind of resistance to it that you would to a drug, or a tolerance for it. And you're always chasing that initial feeling the first time you used it or the first time you saw a certain thing. And I think eventually you just chase more taboo, more transgressive. And I think maybe some people are more prone to that than other people, going in a really extreme direction.
Is how Charlie Sheen got AIDS, actually.
Yeah.
There's people. Porn is the gateway drug to being gay, because you just seek the thrill. You just seek that thrill of being gay
through just being jaded and looking for something more transgressive.
Yeah,
that's just a fact.
Porn is not enough anymore. You need to be gay and then trans. What's next? Random spooky girl 3PO. Sex doesn't need to be whatever he's making it out to, like it has to be. It does.
Fact.
And there's something too about what it does when you look at it. Because people don't realize that it is a fundamentally different experience being involved in intercourse versus watching other people have intercourse.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people do understand that it's a different saying yes. What?
And I think that actually does something to you.
Tell me, what do you mean?
I think that, for example, I think Steve Saylor has written about this, that there's multiple kinds of transsexuals.
Oh boy.
And he says that one kind of transsexual is somebody that likes the idea of seeing themselves as a woman.
Do I have to look up this Steve Saylor person and just find out what sort of a lunatic they are? Do I have to do that?
Woman is autogynephilia.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And I think that, one of the theories for that is you watch a man having sex with a woman that isn't you so much, you kind of achieve an identity with the woman in like a weird, sick way. You almost identify with the woman.
What?
And so there's weird things that happen when you're watching that and having such strong emotional and sexual experiences with it.
That's fascinating. I have always been, I've sensed.
It's fascinating how much bizarre and nonsensical things you can come up with when you're just a ideologue idiot.
For a long time, having had a lot of young male employees mention porn as a problem. I mean, the big porn companies give.
Yeah, I've always sensed that porn first makes you gay and then it's just a step away from becoming trans. I've always sensed it. I've always felt it to be true.
Visibility to foreign intel services on the back end. So that means people know what you're looking at. There's likely video and audio of you watching. So that, that's like such a deal killer for me. I'm not a huge expert on the topic, but I have always sensed this was a huge deal, but I've always been too embarrassed to do a show on it. But it sounds like you're describing something that's...
yeah, Tucker Carlson is such an embarrassed man. Yeah, so Tucker Carlson is the most embarrassed man of all.
Everywhere that affects everybody, and that is... Do you think it's related to the huge decline in actual sex and relationships and marriage, screwed up dating? All of this derives in part from porn, do you think?
I think it's a huge part.
What? Can I actually get any data on this?
It's a huge factor. And it's even on the other side too. It's become so destigmatized for women to actually participate in porn. People don't even recognize that OnlyFans is a whole separate...
Do they also become lesbians and then trans from the porn? Is that what's happening? Wait. I'm waiting till clear. I am still waiting. Also press like on the stream. All of you press like, please. Don't be cowards. Press like, okay? Don't be cowards, please.
Category. It's an innovation. in the realm of pornography, because you have what everyone considers, what everyone knows as porn, which is like videos of porn stars, like dedicated career sex workers having sex in a relatively controlled environment or something like that. But then you get OnlyFans, which is like Patreon for nudes or sex. And basically, there's now a very large subculture.
Okay, whatever. I don't care. What does America's future look like?
That's been my experience. So last question, where is all of this going in this country?
We're going to listen in a second. First, I'm going to read a comment. Toaster Cleaner says, so foreign intelligence might be involved in production of porn and related content such. Actually, you know, I think it's all a concentrated effort to create more gays and transes. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe it.
Like,
Well,
where are we in 5 years?
Not anywhere good. I'm really concerned, and I'm
We're
not
in
one of
hell.
these doomsday sayers. You know, there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
forever, but you know, the sky's falling every day. But I really feel like the things that concern me the most,
Uh-huh.
it's the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Seemed like we crossed a Rubicon there.
I agree with that.
Because he's just a conservative guy, relatively moderate, expressing his opinions. He's not the president. He's not a politician.
Relatively moderate. I do not agree with that. I do not agree that Charlie Kirk was relatively moderate.
And it wasn't just that he got shot. It was what happened afterward, which is that 100,000 liberals went on TikTok and celebrated. And that shows that.
Where did you take that number from? How do you know that 100,000 liberals celebrated? How do you know that? Is there official data on that, on how many people celebrated the assassination?
How can you integrate or harmonize with people that hate you that much? They see some, you know, and I understand that liberals thought he was a jerk. Like maybe he was a little rude or something like that. And he really wasn't.
Yeah, that's what? I don't care if Charlie Kirk was rude. That was not the problem of Charlie Kirk. Was peddling some pretty horrible ideas. I think that's more of a problem. Random Spooky Girl 3PO says, the left wants a revolution of soy males led by black women with humanity's degrees, and they can achieve this with pornography. True. And then they will all turn trans.
I mean, he was pretty patient as they
So
come.
I just tried to fill in for him last week and immediately snapped at some kid and threatened to beat him up and went crazy. And I had said a prayer for patience, by the way, and I still couldn't handle it. So, Charlie Kirk was a remarkably even-keeled, patient, decent man.
Yes. And yeah, so whatever their perception of him was, to
Charlie Kirk, a decent man. Lol.
see him get his face blown up in front of everybody like that. And
His face wasn't even blown up. He was shot in the neck. The relatively does rider amount of heavy lifting. True, it does.
the first reaction of someone in the crowd who was present, some guy with a beard jumps up and celebrates. Did you see this?
No.
Some liberal
No.
kid in the audience jumps up and says, all right.
I literally can't.
Wait, was it a guy with a beard or was it a liberal kid? Which was it?
Handle it. I'm
Hold
so
on.
upset.
Some liberal kid jumps up. Action of someone in the crowd who was present. Some guy with a beard jumps up and
So what is some guy with a beard or a kid?
celebrates. Did you see this?
No.
Some liberal kid in the audience jumps up and says, all right.
I literally can't handle it. I'm so upset by it. I haven't looked at anything.
It's disgusting. And I saw that and
Yes, Tucker Carlson is such a sensitive soul.
said, yeah, like,
I literally cannot handle it. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, Tucker Carlson. You're dancing at the graves of killed people in wars. Just don't give me that crap.
there's no putting the genie back in the lamp here. That was one. The other thing I'm really worried about is what's happening at these ICE detention centers, where it's happening not far from where I live in Broadview, Illinois, where they set up an ICE detention facility. And
I did not expect Nick Fuentes to be anti-ICE, but I guess here we are.
administration is rounding these people up, which I support, but they're doing it in a very
Oh, never mind. He supports it, so He supports these people being rounded up. Brilliant.
Provocative way. They're broadcasting it. They're making hype edits on Twitter.
Ah, I see. The problem isn't what ICE does. The problem is that too much of it is being released to the public. Okay, got it. Thanks, Nick Fuentes. For a second there, I was like, wait, Nick Fuentes is anti-ICE? That's a weirdly okay stance by him. But no, he actually is in full support. The problem is that it's all being made too public. Okay, cool. Glad we have an understanding
of like these raids on apartment complexes, which I think are very cool, but it's somewhat provocative. And Antifa showing up.
It's all cool. Okay, Nick Fuentes. It's all cool. These raids on apartments and kindergartens and primary schools. It's all cool. Oh, God.
In order to protect ICE, the administration's putting DHS. Well, now they're protesting the DHS presence, and the administration of the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago are telling Chicago police, don't help ICE, and they're encouraging the protesters. And what I see there is like a level of tension that just keeps increasing.
Yes.
And there's leadership. There's civilian leadership on both sides. Like the governor and mayor, who are Democrats, won't back down versus a Republican president. There's a security division too, the police versus ICE, the police versus DHS. There's a constitutional question about the federal supremacy, you know, and I see all the ingredients of like a low boil civil conflict, full-blown civil war. And I'm not that guy, but I see all the ingredients there for that to happen. So I'm deeply concerned about where that will go.
I do see the ingredients as well. That's true. Tucker Carlson is such a bizarre interviewer, I swear to God.
How would you handle it if you were in charge?
I would just round people up and make them shut up, and I would just not publicize it.
You're the president. What do you do about that?
I think maybe this is controversial, but they have to crush the other side. They have to, because you can do...
Of course, that's the recipe.
Do one of two things. You cannot challenge the left and let them do their thing. Or...
What is their thing? What is the left's thing? They just have to crush the opposition and establish a single party rule.
Or you can utterly confront them and defeat them and remove hope from the equation. If you resist, you will be arrested. Like, this is an insurrection. There's 10 million people here illegally. We're getting them out. You're rioting. You're going to jail too. Like, it has to be crushed.
Yeah, true. You have to just arrest or deport all of your political opposition, execute them, ideally, and just establish a single party rule in the country. That's brilliant. That is exactly what the United States of America needs.
But if you do anything less than that, if you do in the middle, all you're doing is antagonizing and feeding the other side. And if they think there's a chance they can win, they will get bolder and stronger, and they'll start to rally. And that's when it's sort of like people think it's close or like it's contentious. That's when it breathes. That's when oxygen is fed to this kind of fire. So if I were Trump, I would say screw 200 National Guard, like arrest the mayor of Chicago, like arrest.
Yeah, just screw the rules, screw the rule of law, screw democracy. Let's just arrest anybody that we don't like. Let's arrest and maybe even execute all our political opposition. Thank you, Nick Fuentes.
Governor, shut it down. Like, make it clear. Like Washington, you know, bring in the troops and say the federal government is supreme. The immigration law is the law of the land. If you're not on board with that, you're going to jail. If you attack...
I'm sorry to tell you, but there's this whole thing about the independence of the individual state. Washington, D.C. is not a state as far as I know. It's just, D.C. is a little bit of a different case, but I guess Nick Fuentes does not understand that.
Or box them in with your car, you're going to jail for a long time. Anything less than that, you might as well just not even bark up that tree at all.
Nick Fuentes.
No, he cannot. Just what, can the president even just use his executive power to arrest mayors? I'm pretty sure he cannot. That's why I said screw the rule of law. You know? Yes, just screw the rule of law. Who cares? President's just emperor now. From now on, forever. Like, screw all of it. Who cares? Who gives a crap, right? Brilliant. That was a brilliant interview. Like, we've just skimmed through it, but I feel like we've got a lot of very valuable knowledge out of it, don't you?